and welcome to the 1990 Moree Technology High School's 30th presentation night. I would like to introduce myself, Simone James, Moree Technology High School Captain for 1991. The school has received apologies for this evening from Mr Zennis, Mr and Mrs Haywood, and our Deputy Premier, Mr Murray. Mr Murray, who was to reply to the welcome, had a plane on standby, but has had to attend a very important cabinet meeting. We are very fortunate to have his delightful wife, Mrs Daphne Murray, to represent Mr Murray.
And it's nice to be with you, having been a member now for quite some time. I don't want to speak for very long tonight, but I just would like to make a few comments, particularly to those of you who are closer, perhaps than others, to leaving school in an Australia that is not looking perhaps quite as reassuringly secure as it has in days gone by. Unemployment is fairly high. We do face some quite serious economic problems across Australia in general terms, and some particularly acute problems in rural Australia in particular. And there are going to be some challenges in that. Challenges for all of us, but perhaps particularly for those of you who will be entering the workforce in the next few years, and who will, on the one hand, have to cope with those more difficult circumstances, and on the other, seek to build, or rebuild, perhaps I should say, a more secure economy and a more secure society for the future, given that at the moment we're a little shakier than we have been for some time. And I want to suggest to you that two great attributes of the Australian people will need to, if you like, undergo something of a renaissance, or at least a rekindling. And they are the pursuit of excellence and initiative on the one hand, and the concept of a fair go on the other. The perhaps uncomfortable reality for us in Australia is that we shouldn't have economic problems of the sort that confront us. We're a very fortunate country. There are only 17 million of us, occupying a very large landmass, blessed with rich resources, good soil, clean water, clean air, an educated population, and of course we're here tonight celebrating your education, though sometimes perhaps you're not as enthusiastic about it as we'd like to see you. I'm sure basically you're all keen students. A stable political system, despite the fact that I'm sure many of you sometimes wonder about that too. And generally speaking, we really have it luckier than most people in the world today. So the fact that we've made a bit of a mess of it really says something about us as Australians, and perhaps about the way we're led as well, if you can differentiate. We are going to have to lift our game. We are going to have to go the extra mile in the future. There must be an embracement of the pursuit of excellence as a worthwhile goal. And so whether, perhaps when you leave school, you want to be a panel beater here in Moree, or whether you have some other objective, say you want to be a panel beater, you're going to have to make sure that your work is quality work, and that you do it right, first time, every time. You might want to be a policeman, or a policewoman. You'll have to make sure that you go the extra mile, that you really do see to it that you're offering quality service and doing the right thing by your fellow Australians. If you want to go into manufacturing, whether it's in the local steel fabrication shop, or whether you want to go and work for an automotive company or something like that, you're going to have to realise that the rest of the world's been doing it a little bit better than Australia in recent years, and we've got to turn that around if we're to secure our future. And if you want to be a hairdresser, or a waitress, or involved in the service industries, we're going to have to realise that the she'll be right mate attitude doesn't impress those, for example, in the tourist industry who come to visit us anymore. And that's a message that all Australians are going to have to...
Thank you, Mr Anderson. With great pride, I would like to introduce Moree Technology High School Band, performing for you, Trumpet Voluntary. Who will present a report on school activities for the 1990 school year.
Mr. Halligan, Mr. Fisher, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. 1990 has been a year of change, participation and promise as far as sport is concerned at Moree Technology High School. With 1989 being a year of limited competition between our school and other schools, we have attempted to reverse this situation and compete in as many sporting competitions as possible. To be successful in these changes, an added commitment is required, and I must take this opportunity to thank those teachers, parents and students who have shown the dedication needed to field competitive teams. Internal sport this year has involved up to 18 options each term. Some of these options have included water polo, badminton, aerobics, drama and lawn bowls, just to name a few. Each student may choose 3 sports in order of preference when sports are offered. This system is designed to give every student an equal opportunity in gaining their desired sport. During term 1, the school swimming carnival was held. This was a successful day, and with the winning house being Cwa, congratulations must also go to Mrs. Pam Walter, who organised the carnival this year. Moree Technology High School has gained the reputation of being a school who produces strong swimmers, and 1990 has been no exception, with Angela Lamont and Monique Northey representing at state level. During term 2, Moree Technology High School held its cross-country event. Again, there were some outstanding performances, which included David Craigie, the outright winner, completing the 6.5 kilometre course in 29 minutes and 2 seconds. The first girl to complete the course was Lee Clissold in the very respectable time of 37 minutes and 46 seconds. During term 3, the annual athletics carnival was held. From the carnival, we had a large number of students represent at zone level, and then a record 12 students compete in the regional athletics carnival at Coonabarabran. Kylie Rose was then chosen to compete in the girls' 15 years 400 and 800 metres events at the state carnival, in which she finished a very creditable 6th in both events. To Kylie's credit, she was also chosen as a reserve in the 1500 metres event. Throughout the year, teams from Moree Technology High School have been involved in a wide variety of combined high school sports. Although our year was one of mixed success, there were some highlights which included the Open Boys basketball team winning their way to become Namoi Zone champions. The narrow defeat of the Open Girls soccer teams and hockey team may serve as a warning for the future to our opposition teams. Because of the advantage of greater numbers that some schools hold over ours, their teams consisted of mainly senior students. Our teams, however, consisted of a large number of junior girls, including Year 7 and 8 girls. This can only work to our advantage in the future as our teams gain experience and coordination. In sporting activities outside the institution of school, Moree Technology High School have also achieved greatly. Some examples of this include Michael Finance and Trevor Ty being awarded the Best Forward and Best Back awards respectively from the Moree Rugby League Club for their play in under-18s, Glenn Finance, Scott Norrie and in particular Glenn McCosker playing rugby league in the Northwest Region under-15 rugby league side, and Heidi James winning a silver medal in gymnastics at state level. In finishing, I would like to thank those students who have been committed to their sports throughout the year, both representative and Wednesday school sport, the teachers who have assisted in coaching and the running of events, and the parents who have lent their assistance throughout 1990. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barney. I will now introduce the leading teacher at Moree Technology High School, Mr. John Dale, for the presentation of the sporting awards to the successful students at Moree Technology High School for 1990.
For international sporting people, yes, you're right, all products of what we now call Moree Technology High School. Continuing in this tradition, I'd like to make the following awards to people for swimming. 12 years, Philip Mitchell and Amy Garrett. I call upon Mr. French to make the presentation. These presentations will be made in 4 groups. Would you mind holding your applause till the end of each particular section? 13 years awards, Andrew Johnson and Angela Lamont. The 14-year awards, Craig Mills and Sarah Perry. The 15-year award to David Greenaway and Lorraine May. The 16-year award to Glenn Lettingham and Joanne Elliott. The Open Awards to Craig Duncan and Angela Morrison. Congratulations, once again. Call upon Mr. Schweitzer to present the Athletics Awards. The 12-year awards to Paul Phillip and Amy McGarry. The 13-year awards to Nicholas Bradley and Reagan Shearer. The 14-year Boys Award this year goes to Troy Werribone. Troy is still in intensive care in Sydney, and our thoughts go out to him. This year, he will be collected on his behalf by Harold Williams. And Efla Hardman. 15-year awards to Lee Smith and Kylie Rose. '16-year awards to Chris Offner and Robin Howard. And the Open Awards to Craig Duncan and Simone Jones. Congratulations to all. Call upon Mr. Sedgman, Principal of Moree Public School, to present the Cross Country Awards. 12 years, Simon Wilson and Amy McGarry. "13 years to Jade Kay. 14 years to Keith Munro and Lee Clissold. 15 years to Malcolm Cunningham and Kylie Rose. 16 years to David Craigie and Jameel Humphreys. And 17 plus awards to Kevin McCain and Moira Litchfield. Congratulations to our cross-country runners. Call upon Mrs. Fane, President of the Moree Technology High School Ladies Auxiliary, to present the Special Sports Awards. First of these is the football, microfinance. Special award for cricket goes to David Thomas. The Terry Buckland Memorial Shield this year has been won by Trevor Tye. The Sports Person of the Year is Craig Duncan. Our school representatives at the Combined High Schools State Swimming, Angela Lamont and Monique Northey. and a representative of the Combined High School State Athletics, Kylie Rose. Whilst Kylie is making her way to the stage, I call Ms. Kime to the microphone.
This year's SRC Sports Scholarship goes to another person who's represented the school well, both at school level and interstate. And the winner of this year's award is Kylie Rose.
Thank you.
He will perform a solo on the flute. Principal of Moree Technology High School, to present the Principal's Report for 1990.
Chairperson Simone, distinguished guests, members of staff, students and other members of the community. 1990 has been a splendid and remarkably productive year for Moree Technology High School. The introduction of the Technology High School, the obtaining of suitable facilities and equipment, the development of appropriate courses, the provision of professional development activities, our involvement with schools renewal, the introduction of the newly developed student welfare policy, our students' support for their new uniform, and the involvement of parents and students in school decision making have all been positive aspects of our year. However, it has also been a most difficult year in terms of staffing, industrial activity and finding time to meet all the additional demands placed on us as individuals and as a school. Staffing has been a real worry in both high schools. We began the year with vacancies in English history, mathematics, home economics, art and a special support position. One developed in physical education when the new appointee was lured to the coast by higher pay as a builder's labourer than as a teacher. All these positions were filled eventually through our own efforts to locate people primary trained and persuade them to come. No matter how strong their other skills, I do not believe people who lack secondary training are the ideal people to fill secondary vacancies. For this reason, I am delighted that our two maths appointees have undertaken retraining courses and are now able to continue with us as permanent teachers. That said, I must compliment our primary trained people for their dedication and their sustained hard work. I'm quite certain that staffing will continue to be a worry for school communities west of the Divide. There has been plenty of...
This is Tally Levy and Teresa Jerd in the electronics room at Moree Technology High School. They are currently in the TC class for science, and here's Tally to tell you what he's doing with his project.
I'm making a little radio from a fire detector, and I've got another one, and it's a transmitter, and it transmits when there's a fire. And this will be at the fire station, and then tell the fellas at the fire station if there's a fire and what else. It's going to be connected up to a little lead, and they'll light up when there's a fire, and it'll be on a big map with heaps of other leads. Okay, Teresa's turn.
Now Teresa's turn to tell you about her project.
I'm making a water indicator, and like it just, you put this battery into the end here, and it just, like if your plants need water or anything, this little thing here flashes.
Okay.
Like
And what are you doing with the soldering iron?
Well, these are the probes, and all I have to do, like you stick these into the plant, and I just have to solder this on just to...
Can you show us it being soldered on?
Just hold that on there. Take the plant and put these two wires called probes and stick it in. And when the light comes on and it flashes, it means that the plant's right and it has enough water. But otherwise, if it didn't have enough water, it wouldn't come on. It'd just be straight off like that. It wouldn't come on at all.
So as part of our TC program, we have a new group starting on project work. They are Lorraine Nay and Karthika Krishna. It really is a longer name than that, but I can't pronounce it, so... Their project work, they are developing a list of problems, and they are using the Macintosh computers using a program called HyperCard.
Jobs, pollution, waking up in the morning, daylight saving, studying, homework, earthquakes and volcanoes, alarms. Some solutions to the problems that we've chosen.
Service, the desperation that drives teachers to strike. All these interfere with our ability to do the best for our students. I must say that I do have confidence that under Education Minister Chadwick we will be more valued, we will be treated more fairly, and we will be able to get on with our job. It appears that for 1991 there will be less change in our staff membership than in previous years. Mrs. Foreman, head teacher English history, who has been on leave for the past year, has now resigned. A replacement should be appointed soon. Melissa Ryan, who has been in this school a supply casual teacher, a program continuity teacher and our careers advisor, has taken leave without pay and will move to a centre nearer the coast. Jenny Kime, home economics teacher, SRC leader and Uniform Committee member, also goes on leave to travel overseas. Both Melissa and Jenny will be replaced with permanent appointees. We wish both ladies every success. I believe that Gordon Robertson, our school counsellor, will receive a transfer. If this is so, we congratulate him and wish him well. I am saddened but delighted that John Ayres has been appointed Principal of Corindai High School from the beginning of next year. He thoroughly deserves it. His loyalty to me and to our school has been unquestioned. He has immense strength of character and huge capacity for hard work. I've been able to rely on him to plan his work, consult with me, and put the plan into action. Self-interest has never been the basis for his actions. He has always worked for the good of our students. Furthermore, he has been prepared to take on new challenges and see them through to completion. Perhaps the most striking aspect of our school to the visitor would be the way in which our students wear their uniform. They do so with pride, knowing that they look good, and that by doing so they identify themselves as members of Moree Technology High School. This uniform was developed by a committee of parents, students and teachers. They worked hard. They kept reporting back to the students and seeking their advice. They listened. The end result was a uniform that met the wishes of all concerned, to which all had contributed. At one stage, John Haddad came to me in concern about the proposed school jumper. People would not spend that much money. It would not sell. But it looked good. It was what our students wanted. In no time at all, John had sold 120 of them, with many more on order. This example demonstrates that as a group working together, our parents, our staff and our students can achieve anything they want to achieve. This year has seen the continuing involvement of parents, teachers and students in school activities, including decision making. The Quality Education Committee has made important decisions which led to our homework policy and has set in train the development of a writing policy and a reading policy. It is investigating what incentives can be provided for students to encourage them in their learning. ASPAR, the Aboriginal Student Support and Parent Awareness Scheme, has the potential to involve many more parents in our school. Next year, when we work on program budgeting, we will involve the two parent groups in our school budget committee. I said earlier that the year had been a splendid and remarkably productive one. Let me review some of our activities. In the areas of curriculum and student achievement, we established Technology Studies Year 7 and have developed plans for it to continue into Year 8 next year. Computing Studies was introduced into Year 11 and has been provided to all Year 9. The Talented Child program continues with 3 and 4 unit courses, with our band performing in the school and at community functions. What great ambassadors they are. Our choir performed again in the Opera House. The best results in years were achieved in mathematics and science competitions. Our problem solvers travelled to Melbourne and won second place in the Australia and New Zealand finals of the Future Problem Solving competition. Success was achieved in BHP Science Awards, and our school was the only one in the state to have 2 teams selected to go to Sydney representing our region in the statewide Young Innovator of the Year competition. Our reading assistance program has done well. In February, only 15% of the target group were above average in reading skills. In November, this had increased to 36%. The number of students with low reading skills had been almost cut in half. Artworks by 4 of our high school certificate Aboriginal students have been selected and are on exhibition in Sydney. In student welfare, our student welfare policy was developed over time by students, teachers and parents working together and continuing to consult with students. Introduced a year ago, it has been modified as the months have gone by and is under review at the moment. It involves recognition of the teacher as the key element in welfare through the provision of quality lessons. It insists that everyone has rights along with corresponding responsibilities, and it includes a level system which is implemented unflinchingly. Central to its effectiveness is the weekly welfare meeting at which the year coordinators represent their students. Year coordinators too have developed a range of activities to involve and benefit students. These include the Year 12 basketball-a-thon, the brain drain, fundraising by years 10, 11 and 12, orientation activities, lunchtime sausage sizzles and pizza sales. Peer support, previously restricted to years 7 and 11, will be extended throughout the school next year. In the area of communication, we have made every effort to let our community know what is happening in the school and to bring them into the school. 2VM's School News and Thursday's Champion have been provided with abundant material. A major display was put on in Education Week. Other functions include parent-teacher nights, parent involvement in school socials, Year 12's valedictory dinner, the absolutely outstanding Rhythm, Rags and Rococo evening, the Year 12 information night, and the official opening of our computer rooms. In the area of physical resources, we now have 2 fully equipped computer rooms offering students experience in IBM compatible and Mac systems. The computer centre is located in our library. Amiga computers are available in art, home economics and music. Each staff area has its own computer. Our administration makes extensive use of the department's OASIS facility and will next year use the OASIS computerised finance system. Our library has been equipped with the OASIS library module, which will be brought into use next year. Some $20,000 has been spent on other forms of technology for use across the school. Program budgeting has been trialled this year and will be fully implemented next year. There is no doubt that Moree Technology High School 1990 is an excellent school. It has quality staff, quality students and quality tone. We are not smug and complacent about this. We know that we can make it better for 1991 and we are working to do so. I wish to set on record the school's gratitude to those who have made it so. I thank Mr. Frank Fisher, whose vision and foresight recognised our potential and who gave us the chance to become a technology high school. I thank our sponsors, donors and supporters, from those who provided hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment and services, to those who provided prizes for our raffles, and to those who sold the tickets. You are all important, you are all valued. I thank those parents who have selflessly given of their time and resources to assist not only their own children, but all the young people in the school. And perhaps above all, I thank and commend our staff, whose enthusiasm and keenness, hard work, long hours and dedication have combined to turn the vision into reality. I ask you to show your appreciation of them all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Halligan. For the first time in my school career at Moree Technology High School, we have the Assistant Director General of Education present this evening. We are very privileged and would you please make welcome Mr. Frank Fisher, who will present the presentation of Long Service Awards and also present the Young Innovators of the Year Awards.
Well, thank you, Chairperson Simone, for your welcome, and to your principal, Mr. Neil Halligan, for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'd like to pay tribute to the fact that on the stage here this evening we have Mrs. Moree representing the Deputy Premier, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Winter, other distinguished guests, and of course many members of staff who are spread around behind us and through the body of the hall. But most importantly, I'd like just to say a word or two of congratulations to the young people who make up the body of students that we know as Moree Technology High School. And I want to say to you right at the outset that I feel intensely proud of you tonight. I can see the work that's been put into improving the impression that the students of Moree Technology High School make. And sitting on the stage here tonight, it's to your very great credit and to that of the staff and to that of your parents that you look so great. Congratulations. A fine body of students, as good as any in the state. I think we should congratulate them. There are all sorts of little things that make us feel very proud, and it's proud to measure one's achievements, not of ourselves but of those about us who we care for and work for. And I'm privileged tonight. I have my daughter with me, and it only seems like yesterday that she was in a body of students like this at Albury North High School in another part of the state. And after 8 years of study, she has finally finished and will shortly be going to the United States to continue her research. That makes me feel proud. When I walk into my office of a morning, as do all the other people who work in our office in Tamworth, they walk past a photograph on the wall, a large photograph that has the captains of Moree Technology High School and Corrali High Schools. That makes me feel proud. Every day of my working life, well, I think I should say every day of my life, I see that photograph. And further down in one of the alleyways as you walk into the office, we have a photograph, same size of your school band. What a fine achievement. It's a funny thing, but 18 months ago when we had to nominate a school to become a technology high school in this region, we had in the back of our minds the possibility that we'd like to do something different. We'd like to take a truly rural school in a rural area where there's very great potential. And it seemed to me at the time that there was only one such school that we should look at, and that was Moree, at that stage, Moree High School. And your principal would know that within 2 days we had prepared quite an exhaustive submission that looked at the potential of the area and looked at what we might be able to achieve. And here we are 18 months later, 2 computer rooms, beautifully equipped, a high school that's very proud of itself and its achievements, a school that is very much on the march and is very much working to put its own community on the map and working to establish and reinforce its identity in Moree, in the Northwest region and in the state of New South Wales. We made no mistake in making Moree a technology high school. And that's not to say that other schools don't have their own character and their own identity, but right here tonight I want to reinforce and commend you again for the success that's come from your high school in its first steps towards technology status. And I would support your principle in saying that it's not only the efforts of the school leader or the administration, but it is the efforts very much of the staff and of the students and of the community working together. So in a sense, Moree Technology High School will thrive and will prosper as it moves ahead with its community. And in its own way, it will bring prosperity and success and honour and dignity to its own community. So it feeds both ways. I'm pleased to tell you that last week the Minister for Education, the Honourable Virginia Chadwick, approved the networking of 4 of our northern schools along the border to establish years 11 and 12 in schools where students previously had no opportunity to go on to the higher school certificate. It's at very short notice, but from the beginning of next year, we will be providing Year 11 and ultimately Year 12 studies at Boggabilla, Collarentabri, Mungandai and at Gaduga. And that will be supported by an extensive program of technology, utilising dedicated telephone lines, Macintosh computers with voice-over facilities, and a heap of other things that the technology just beats me for the present time. And we believe that as from next year, we will be providing higher school certificate studies for an additional 30 to 50 students who currently are falling through the network. And we believe that that's equity. Now, where does that fit with Moree Technology High School? Part of our plan is that we should lock in with some of the expertise at this school. And as a consequence, we are hoping that some of our computer technology will be able to be connected in with what occurs in this school to provide support to that network. So that's something that I think will be a great achievement and a great step forward for this region. But it will also be a great step forward for the people in the northern area. And given that 80% of the students in that particular area are Aboriginal, I think it's a great step forward in providing equity for all students. This year we've looked in our region at what our mission is in the northwest. And I want to tell you very briefly what we've come up with. And it's very simple. As Mr. Anderson said earlier, we are committed to providing excellence and striving for excellence in our public education system in this region. And we will not be satisfied unless we get very close to our mark. So as from next year, you can expect to hear a lot more of how our schools strive for excellence. You can expect to hear more about how our region will be placed on a performance base where every person, every student, every teacher, every principal, every assistant director general will be expected to perform at his or her best. And you might be interested to know that in my own thinking about myself, I discussed with my staff last week what my last goal would be for 1991, and it is simply to lift my own game, to improve my own performance. And we see it as occurring through 6 different levels. First of all, we are going to focus and concentrate on what is best for our students. So our schools in this region, our commitment will be to provide excellence for each individual student. Our second commitment will be to ensure that the quality of teaching within the classroom also reaches that same degree of excellence. And in that task, we will be putting our best resources into helping our teachers grow professionally and perceptively. Thirdly, we will be committing ourselves to cementing the relationship between each school and its community. And I would hope that the success that's occurred here in this school in its first year as a technology high school will be but the first step of a great path forward to a great future, providing for the future generations of students here in Moree. And fourthly, we will be striving for excellence in providing a curriculum and a program in each of our schools that really is up to date and meets the needs of students whose lives are going to stretch towards the middle of the 21st century. And fifthly, we will be striving for excellence in implementing the major spirit of the schools renewal, which is that each school should be self-managing and responsible as professionally as it can for its own decisions and its own destiny. And finally, and this has already been touched upon, we will be striving for excellence in the way we promote and market our product. We believe that the public education system is second to none. It does provide for all students. It's our task and your task, because you're here to represent your students. Students, you are here because you are part of it. Out on Barlow Street and in the other streets of Moree, you must be out there promoting and marketing high quality education as it happens at Moree Technology High School. I'm delighted to be here with you at the end of your first year as a technology high school. I look forward with a great deal of excitement to what the future holds for all of us, but in particular for your school in this community. Thank you for the opportunity to share a word or two with you. Now, I understand that I have to make a couple of presentations here, and the first one, we have a practice in the Department of School Education that we pay tribute to our teachers who've given more than 25 years service. That's a considerable time. And we have 3 members of staff here tonight who have reached that level of service. And I'm going to ask each if they would come up. First of all, I would like Mr. Ross Davies, who's standing over in the wings here, to come out and join me just on my right. I've known Ross Davies since I came to Tamworth, but I'm afraid that I couldn't measure his performance. I understand that he was one of the first members of staff at Oxley High School when it was established. That's a great achievement. But that wasn't enough to keep him there. He came out to serve your school as head teacher administration, but in a very special way as the first head teacher with specific responsibilities for staff development and for student welfare. And their positions, that's a position that we got specifically for this school and for 3 others in the region. And we are holding on to those with gritted teeth. We are not going to lose those positions. They are a key to the performance you've seen here tonight. And to you, Ross, I'd like to congratulate you on your 25-year service and present you with this certificate. And I hope that you'll treasure it and display it in a prominent place in your home. I assume that the Moree community is deriving as much benefit from Ross Davies as Tamworth did, where he was a senior member of the State Emergency Service. Well, I don't think we've used it too often around here lately, but he's a fine person to have on side. The next person I'd like to call up is Mr. Richard Clarke. And I see him sitting down in the body of the hall. When I first came into this region 8 years ago, Richard was a member of our consultancy team, and in fact he was our regional Aboriginal education consultant. And I think we got to know each other pretty well, Richard. And we found out, amongst other things, that he had lived in the Campbelltown area in Sydney. He'd also been a teacher and I think a deputy principal in New Guinea, and has given great service right across this state and across this country. At the present time, as you know, he is head teacher mathematics here in this school. To you, Richard, I'd like to thank you for your service and congratulate you on the major contribution you've made during 25 years, and I hope that the future also provides you with ample opportunity to display your great skills. Congratulations. certificate in a prominent place in your home. And finally, I would like to ask your principal, Mr. Neil Halligan, if he would rise to his feet. He also has passed that 25-year test, if we can put it that way. Mr. Halligan was educated at the University of New England, and I didn't know till tonight that he was a classics scholar. That's one thing that I never was. I think, in fact, I was a classics disaster. But there's always hope for you. You can have a go at me sometime in the future. Mr. Halligan taught initially at Newcastle Girls High School and became head teacher modern languages at Maitland Boys High School, and then later head teacher classics at Waratah High School. From there he was promoted to the position of deputy principal of Haywall Memorial High School in the Western Riverina, and during his time there also served as relieving principal. And of course this is the end, or this is the end of Mr. Halligan's 5th year as principal of this school. And I want to pay my own tribute to you, Neil. I think that we owe a great debt of gratitude to you. You've proved to be a very fine principal and one that we value in the region, and I know and I feel sure that this school and its community value you as principal of Moree Technology High School. I can think of no person better fitted to see this project through a little further. That's put the wood on him. But to see the project through a little bit further to ensure the success that we know can come from Moree Technology High School. Let me thank you for your service and present you with your certificate. Once again, congratulations. Thank you for a fine contribution to education. This is a sort of an unusual opportunity I've had here tonight, but I have one more presentation to make, and this is a presentation of the Young Innovators of the Year Awards. And I'd like just to make my own comment about the problem-solving competition that was held, that the finals were held in Melbourne. And I think it's a tremendous honour that Moree Technology High School gained 2nd place in the Australian finals of that competition. That's a huge achievement. We ought to put that up in neon lights somewhere, and we will in the region. We're very proud of that achievement. Last week, 3 Year 10 students from this school travelled to the Powerhouse Museum in Sydney to participate in the state finals of the Minister's Award for the Young Innovator of the Year. They are these 3 people, and I'd like them to come up on the dais here. Chris Offner, Troy Smith and Charles Zanis. They were impressive representatives for their school with their inventions. It was a power line detector and an automatic volume control for a 2-way radio. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner, and the 2 boys and the 3 boys, I think. One's not here tonight. Regrettably, they didn't win. However, they were part of that competition and they did go down in the regional finals. And the result of their experience of competing and meeting important people and showing off to others what they are able to achieve in terms of innovation and invention must be of tremendous value to them as it is to their school. Congratulations, Troy, Chris and Charles. It's a fine award. You'd want to have a look at it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, band. For the great effort of our school band members during 1990.
This is for recognition for participation in the 2 school bands that we currently have at Moree Technology High School. In our senior band from Year 12, Moree Litchfield. From Year 11, Michelle Nash, Felicity Salter. From Year 10, Donj Kelly and Kylie Lyons. From Year 9, Laura Fay, Sally Schweitzer. From Year 8, Lee Clissold, Oliver Fowler and Megan Nash. From Year 7, Jason Chisholm, Graham James, Louise McFadgen. Could you please congratulate the members of the senior band for 1990? This year saw the formation of the junior band at Moree Technology High School, and the following students, those students who have participated in any activity to do with the junior band for 1 year. Kathy Offner from Year 8, Daniel Fay, Marianne Penny and Bronwyn Smith. From Year 7, David Miles, Terry Ann Turner, Peter Schweitzer, Sam Schweitzer. And for some new beginners who have done a lot of work for the band in the last term or 2 terms, Tina Hayward, Clinton Shearer and Simon Wilson. Would you please congratulate the members of Moree Technology High School. This year will also see the first award, which has been donated by Moree District Band. We're going to announce this tonight. The qualifications for a student to receive this award is not necessarily that they are the best musician, but a combination of turning up to rehearsals, their behaviour both in school and on band jobs, the amount of help they do with any sort of fundraising activities. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we are at the present moment trying to raise funds to take the whole band that you see seated before you tonight to New Zealand next year in June, July. $10,000. At the present moment we have $3,000 and we're trying very hard. So please don't ignore any ticket sellers you see down at Baylor Square. Anyway, for the first award winner of this presentation will go to David Miles, Year 7.
Once again, could we just refrain from clapping until they finish, please? Going on to subject awards. First of all, Sam Schweitzer, first in Technology Studies. We have Jade Kay and Tammy Boardman, equal first in PE. Janice Nolan, second in Studies in Society. Scott Zenas, second in Visual Arts. Jamelia LaHood, third in English. Robert Barrington, third in Industrial Arts Craft. Philip Mitchell, first in mathematics and third place in Year 7 overall. Amy McGarry, second in English and second in careers and personal development. Peter Schweitzer, third in science and fifth place overall in Year 7. Jason Chisholm, second in mathematics, third in technology studies, third in studies in society and fourth place overall in Year 7. Next is Angela Lamont. She came first in visual arts, first in industrial arts and craft, first in careers and personal development, first in home economics, second in music, second in science, and second overall in Year 7. The second placing in Year 7 was a donation by the Moree Technology High School Lady Auxiliary. And that one will take some beating, but Louise McFadden has done this. Louise has came first in English, first in science, first in studies in society, first in music, second in technology studies, third in mathematics. Louise has also received the Keith Haddad Holland Citizenship Award. And last of all, she has received the Ducks of the Year Award, which was the Wendy Zenas Memorial Trophy. Congratulations to all of those people, please.
Thank you, Mr. Firth. The Year 8 coordinator is Miss Victoria Mascord, and the presentation of awards will be presented by Mrs. Moree Wilson.
Thanks, Simone. I'm very pleased to be making these awards to some of these Year 8 students tonight. Jeremy Cutmore, the Aboriginal Student Support and Parental Awareness Program Prize for the first Aboriginal student in Year 8. Jodie McMillan, equal first place in PE. Megan Nash, first place in music. Jamie Mitchell, equal first place in textiles. Joseph Relf, equal first place in PE and equal first place in general metal. Anthony McCudden, equal first place in general woodwork and equal first place in general metal. Marianne Penny, equal first place in agriculture and second place in music. Renee Roach, equal first place in technical drawing and equal third place in history. Carolyn Bowen, first place visual arts, equal first place technical drawing, second place English, second place science, third place history, and overall P&C Ladies Auxiliary Prize for 5th in Year 8. Sarah Perry, equal first place home science, third place in mathematics, third place in geography, and overall P&C Ladies Auxiliary Prize for the 4th person in Year 8. Sarah also receives the Keith Haddad Holden Prize for Citizenship. Catherine Offner, second place mathematics, third place English, third place science, and overall P&C Moree Technology High School Ladies Auxiliary Prize for second place in Year 8. Heidi James, equal first place home science, equal first place textiles, equal first place commerce, equal first place agriculture, second place history, second place geography, second place visual arts, and third place music. She receives the Ladies Auxiliary Prize for second overall in Year 8 and also receives the Keith Haddad Holden Prize for Citizenship. Catherine Page, first place in English, first place in mathematics, first place in science, first place in history, first place in geography, equal first place in woodwork, equal first place in commerce. Catherine also receives the Wendy Zanis Memorial Prize for the Ducks of Year 8. Congratulations, Catherine. Congratulations to all other youth students in Year 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mascord. The Year 9 coordinator is Miss Moree Peasley, and the presentation of awards will be presented by Shire President, Councillor Alan Winter.
Rosemary Martin, equal first place PE. Glenn Finance, equal first place PE. Nigel Hazelwood, first place Industrial Arts. Lorraine May, first place Home Science. Shannon Kay, first place Woodwork. Rachel Mention-Smith, first place Agriculture. As Rachel's up here to receive her Agricultural Award, I'd like to call on Mrs Bassett to present the Cwa Scholarship for Years 7 to 10 and also call on Angela Mon to accept her Cwa Award. Teresa Ty, Best Year 9 Aboriginal student. Alison Nolan, equal third place English. And the P&C Ladies Auxiliary for 5th place in Year 9. Chris Elsley, first place Geography, 2nd place Industrial Arts, and the P&C Ladies Auxiliary Prize for 4th in Year 9. Kate Perry, first place Visual Arts, first place Asian Social Studies, and the Moree on Guada Rotary School Junior Citizenship Award. Monique Northey, first place Commerce, equal third place English, 3rd place Maths, and the P&C Ladies Auxiliary Prize for 3rd place in Year 9. Laura Fay, first place English, 1st place History, 2nd place Maths, 2nd place Science, the Keith Haddad Holden Citizenship Award, and Sally Schweitzer, 1st place Maths, 1st place Science, 1st place Music, 1st place Textiles, 2nd place English and 2nd place History. And both Laura and Sally have won the Wendy Zanis Memorial and Ladies Auxiliary Prize for equal ducks in Year 9. Congratulations to those people.
Thank you, Miss Peterson. The Year 10 coordinator is Mrs. Robin Tickle, and the presentation of awards will be presented by Mr. John Anderson, local member for Parliament.
Could the following students please come forward? Robin Howard, Narnia Books Prize for first place in PE. Kylie Lyons, she received the Oscott Prize for first place in music. Troy Shearer, Moree Apex Prize for first place in visual arts. Cindy Irwin, Moree Sewing Centre, first place in textiles. Dean Boardman, Moree Plains Shire Prize for first place in agriculture. Rachel Copping and Tim Samble to receive the Keith Haddad Holden Citizenship Award. Glenn Keane, second place in geography. David Thomas, fifth place in Year 10. Scott Berger, Bowen Timbers Prize for first place in Technics Wood. Ironbark Fabrications Prize for first place in Technics Metal. And Scott was also awarded third place in mathematics. Thomas Grenaway receives the Narnia Books Prize for first place in PE. He was also placed second in history, third in English and fourth overall in Year 10. Chris Offner receives the Haywood Memorial Prize for first place in English, the Ron Ermeline Prize for first place in Industrial Arts. Chris was also awarded second place in mathematics, second place in science, equal second place in history, second place in commerce, and receives the Moree Technology High School Ladies Auxiliary Prize for overall second in Year 10. Troy Smith, first place in mathematics, receives the Moree Plains Shire Award. Also from the Moree Plains Shire, first place in science. Troy receives the Henderson's Prize for first place in geography, Moree Apex Club Prize for first place in commerce. Troy was also placed third in English and receives the National Mutual Royal Bank Award for Ducks of Year 10. Congratulations to all those students and thank you, Mr. Anderson. My mistake. Jill Goldman receives the Oscott Prize for first place in home science. Sorry, Jill. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mrs. Tickle. The Year 11 coordinator is Mrs. Kerry Dedman, and the presentation of awards will be presented by Mr. Frank Fisher, Assistant General Director of Education.
Thank you, Simone. Would the following Year 11 students please come forward to collect their awards? The Year 12 and 1981 prize goes to Karen Thompson for first place in English Related. Drew Gearing receives the prize for first place in Maths and Society. Joanne Elliott, first place in Physical Education. Equal first place in Business Studies goes to Stuart Irwin and Harold Williams. Second place in Physics to Wade Smith. Second place in Agriculture to Tonya Mackay. Second place Textiles to Lorraine Richards. Second place Photography to John Palmer. Equal first place in Economics goes to Greg Yates. At this point I'd like to call Mrs Bassett to present the CWA Medallion of Service and also the Moree Teachers Association Citizenship Award. This year this goes to Simone James. would now like to call on Glenn Hines to collect his prize for first place in 3-unit maths. This is a Year 12 of 1981 prize. He also received second place in chemistry. Second place in legal studies goes to Felicity Salter. She also collects second place in music. Michelle Nash receives first place in music, first place in modern history and second place in computing studies. Tanya Burness, first place in 2-unit maths, first place in legal studies, second place in modern history and equal first place in society and culture. Angela Morrison, she receives first place in English General, equal first place society and culture, equal first place economics, first place textiles, second place maths and society. John DeBoulay, first place in physics, first place in chemistry, second place English General, second place engineering science, second place physical education. John also receives the Moree Technology High School's Ladies Auxiliary second place in Year 11. Matthew Houghton, first place in biology, first place in visual arts, and Matthew also receives the Wendy Ennis Memorial Prize for Ducks Year 11. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Deadman. The Year 12 coordinator is Miss Gay Regan, and the presentation of awards will be presented by Mrs. Murray.
The first award I'd like Mrs. Murray to present is the Cwa Murray Prize for first in the 1989 HSC. This award goes to Bruce Arbuckle. Bruce is currently studying in Sydney and his family has moved to Queensland. The award will be received on his behalf by Glenn Smith. The 1990